Shalom Aleichem to everybody. Nice to see you, nice to hear from you, and wonderful to join together. Of course, this is the last session we're going to have for the summer. Hope together and meet together again in Elul, month before Rosh Hashanah. But thank you, all of you, for being the whole months since Rosh Hashanah, last Rosh Hashanah, all these, every week, everybody together, asking questions, having comments, and eagerly joining us. I could tell by everybody's way, by their faces and the way they're attuned to everything we said. So, this week, we are going to read the Parsha of Korach. In Sefer Bamidbar, the fourth Sefer Bamidbar, and Korach is one of the names of the Parshas. Korach was a very great man, but he used his greatness for improper action. And he, with his very big chutzpah, started a rebellion against Moshe Rabbeinu. And he wanted to bring down the greatness of Moshe Rabbeinu from Moses himself. And I think we mentioned last week, because of his jealousy that he had, that Moshe Rabbeinu caused it because he appointed somebody else instead of him. And of course, Moshe Rabbeinu did al pi Hashem. So Korach made a machlokes. He made a rebellion against Moshe Rabbeinu. He tried to anyway. He got some people to question the authenticity of Moshe Rabbeinu. Such a dangerous thing to do. Moshe Rabbeinu brought the Torah to the Jewish people, and Hashem trusted him to give it over the way it should be given over. And we depend on Moshe Rabbeinu, older generations, that he is the prophet of Hashem, the chosen one to give Torah, to bring Torah to the world. And this Korach was starting to question it and make people have doubts about it. And it was a very big sin that he did, a favor. And we consider him like one of the big Baalei Machlokes, person who makes arguments, disagreements, fighting against one another because they don't agree with one another. Machlokes, chiluk means of separating. People have different ideas. They have a right to discuss and to say what they feel and question the other person, but make bad feelings between them. But that is going too far. And that's what he did. He tried to, we have to respect the other person's opinion. He did not expect Moshe Rabbeinu's opinion. He tried to knock it down and disagree with Moshe Rabbeinu and try to get other people to be on his side. We have the words of the Chafetz Chaim, as he quoted in the past. Very, very strong words pertaining to what we're talking about tonight. And the words that he wrote a letter to a great person. And he said the following words, I'm translating to English. There's nothing worse in the world more than machlokes, than fighting amongst people, not physical fighting, but speaking fighting. People doesn't mean discussing, it means people that are pushing down the other person. They're trying to make him not be reliable, and they're not just a discussion, but they're trying to uproot the other person's honesty. They want to show people that he's wrong and is not authentic. Nothing worse in the world than machlokes, and nothing better in the world more than shalom, than peace between people, that they get along and respect each other, and they don't have machlokes tearing down each other and making all kinds of accusations and so on. Now, besides the fact, a person who's involved in machlokes, he'll be doing a lot of sins, averos, when he's doing it, because that's into lashon hara, gossiping about somebody, against them, anger, kas, which is a favorite sin to be kas, and embarrassing people, talking against them in front of other people. There's a lot of different averas come out from people that make machlokas. But by Moshe Rabbeinu, it was the worst, because he wanted to bring down and take away the authenticity of that which we believe Moshe Rabbeinu. We know he brought the Torah down to the world, and he didn't change anything. Everything is exactly the way Hashem gave it to him. So, to understand this a little bit better, that's what I want to do tonight, to show why machlekes is such a terrible thing, even though it's not bringing down Moshe Rabbeinu's authenticity between people, not to the extent of the Korach did, to try to take away the belief in Moshe Rabbeinu. But even people between themselves and petty things that are not that important as Moshe Rabbeinu was Torah that he gave us, but people that argue and fight each other and have bad feelings because of it, and they get other people involved, it's a very big avera. And that's what I want to explain tonight. By the way, Rashi brings in this parsha, we know that in this portion, that after the whole fight between Moshe Rabbeinu and then Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't fighting Korach, was fighting Moshe wasn't fighting him back, but he made the machlokes Korach, and the end was that they were swallowed up in the ground. The earthquake came, and he and all his followers were swallowed up, and they were burned and swallowed. Hashem punished them for what they did, what they're carrying on against against Moshe Rabbeinu. And Rashi says, look how bad machlokes is. That even the little children were swallowed up in the ground. Children of these bad people who were making machlokes, they were swallowed up in the ground also. Which you see how bad machlokes is. What is so bad about machlokes? That's what I'll explain now. And the worst thing, nothing worse than machlokes, the Chafetz Chaim says, nothing worse. Why is it so bad? It all boils down to, we know, and we've discussed before, the way we conduct ourselves between fellow Jews, that's how Hashem conducts himself towards us. That he made the world that way, that he wants us to act in the right way and between ourselves, and therefore Hashem will act towards us in the way that would be good for us. If we, on the other hand, do not act properly with each other, and because machlokes and hate and lashon hara and gossip, and because we don't like about somebody what they did or what they said or what they're up to, whatever it is, and we make a whole fight between people, and that makes them not love each other, be together with each other. Hashem says, if that's how you're acting, then I'll act back to you the same way. I can't have my love for the Jewish people in the same way that it was till now, because you don't have love for each other. So, is there anything worse than that? If it's close to Hashem, if Hashem's with us, close to us, he has the ava and the love and the connection and the feeling for us the way he'd like to. He is the source of all goodness. He's the source of all health and wealth. Everything good in the world comes from Hashem. If we connect to him and we're under his wing, and we show to Hashem that we subordinate ourselves to his greatness and become part of his greatness by being close under his wing, so then we are able to enjoy all the goodness of Hashem, what he has to offer. Because once we're close to him, since he's the source of all goodness, right? Let's say you have a millionaire. So people would like to be close to a millionaire, be friendly with him and be on his good side, because a millionaire is somebody who's good friends. he usually helps them out, gives them a present, he gives them, if they need it, if they don't need it, people that he's close to, he helps them out. He gives them things that they enjoyed having, so people have to be close to him. It's Hashem. In a way, it's not, they can't make the same exact connection, but more or less, a person is close to Hashem. Hashem is a source of all goodness. So therefore, we are able to enjoy that goodness of Hashem. Therefore, Hashem is the source of all life. So people close to Hashem, they live a long life. Hashem is the source of all good things in the world, things that people need, whether it's food, whether it's clothing, and so on, whether it's health, whatever it is. If we're close to Hashem, so since He's the source, we're able to enjoy all those things that He possesses. He possesses everything that's good. So therefore, a person will be able to enjoy life much better by being close to Hashem. But if a person causes Hashem to be upset with us and not be close to what he'd like to, by being that way to our friends, to our siblings, to our wife and husband, if there's no peace between them, if there's strife and anger between man and man, so then Hashem says, like we said before, then He says, I can't be close to either. The way you act between yourself, that's the way I act towards you. So therefore, if people are not acting correctly between themselves, they don't realize. They say, well, it's between me and him. What's it have to do with anybody else? No. A person should realize, if you're having a fight with somebody else, not a fist fight, obviously, but you're arguing and have bad feelings to the other person, you are causing the whole world to be lacking the closeness to Hashem, and the blessings that Hashem gives to the world will be lessened by the fact that people are not getting along with each other. People are talking against each other. If they're not close to each other, Hashem says, I won't be close to either. Therefore, you will not be able to enjoy the goodness which I want to share with you, since I can't be close to you, since you're not close to each other. And we say that little children died because of machlokes, because the earthquake came and swallowed up those families, even with their children, because Hashem took away His protection, His wing of protection that protects people with, but those people making machlokes, He takes away His protection from them, because they are causing a distance between people and people. Therefore, they're causing a distance between Hashem and people. And therefore, they don't have the Hashem's watchful eye hovering over them to protect them from any bad things that happen, because they cause Hashem to further Himself from us. Therefore, that's why even young people could be affected by this machlokes and this lack of connection to Hashem in the world. And the words of the Chafetz Chaim come to life. There's nothing worse in the world like machlokes. Why? Because machlokes makes Hashem be far from us. He's not close to us like He'd like to be, like it should be, like we'd like it to be. And therefore His blessings are not reaching us, because He's furthering Himself away from us, since we don't have the right kind of feeling between ourselves and our friends, and our wife and the husband. If they don't get along and they're arguing and having fighting between them, they shouldn't think, well, that's between me and them, my wife and myself, and my husband and myself. Oh no. If there's lack of shalom in the household, that means it's making a problem between Hashem and the Jewish people. It's not the same. And therefore we cannot enjoy the abundance of Hashem's blessings. And therefore, before a person goes ahead with arguing with people and criticizing people and knocking them down and trying to tell people they're not so good and they don't get along, they have a big responsibility, because they're causing a rift in the whole connection with Hashem and the Jewish people. Because a person can say, well, who am I? I'm just one guy, one person. What's the difference if I get along? I don't get along? No. No such thing. We're all connected. All Jews are connected to one another. What one Jew does, if he says something good and he goes up towards Hashem, the whole nation goes up. And Chas v'sholom, God forbid, if the opposite, if he does something wrong, he goes down away from Hashem, we all suffer from it. And therefore, if a person would think along these lines, besides the fact that he has to realize he has to have good relations with other people, with the spouse and with siblings and family and the Jewish people, it's all good for one big family. He has to realize that it's not only that he's involved, but he's involving the whole Jewish nation. And that's why the Chafetz Chaim comes to life. There's nothing better in the world than peace between Jewish people. Once there's peace, then we're close to Hashem also. Close to Hashem, then He protects us, He gives us what we need. Nothing worse in the world than machlokes, people between them that are not having peace between them. Then nothing worse than that, because it's causing Hashem to go away from us. Now, we have to realize, we know that Aaron HaKohen, Aaron, the brother of Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the first high priest when they built the Mishkan, the portable holy temple in the desert. The 40 years that they went from Egypt till they got to the Holy Land, they had a portable holy temple that they built. And the one who was in charge of the holy temple was Aaron HaKohen. The Kohanim, all his descendants after him, they all were the ones who served in the holy temple, the temple that Shlomo, King Solomon built, and other temple after that. The descendants of Aaron HaKohen were the ones who brought the sacrifices and did all the service in the Beis HaMikdash. So the question, and we know the unbelievable stories of Aaron HaKohen we mentioned before on this opportunity. How he was Moshe Nefesh, how he went out of his way in the biggest way to make peace between people. If he saw two men fighting, he would go to one of them and saying, the other one really wants to make peace, but it's a shame to come to you. He went all kinds of ideas that he had. I think once mentioned about the man and the wife had a disagreement and fighting, and how he went to great extent to make peace between them. And the question is, why is Aaron HaKohen getting involved so deeply in making peace? That wasn't his job, it seems. His job was to take care of the Beis HaMikdash, to take care of he's in charge of the Korbanos. It was a very active place, the Holy Temple. And some people had sacrifices, all types of sacrifices, all kinds of the holidays, which different things had to be done in the Holy Temple, in the Mishkan, and in the Midbar. Why did he get involved in making peace between people that's not even in the Mishkan side, it's outside the Mishkan side? It seems he was going against his duties. His duties was to make sure everything runs smoothly in the Beis HaMikdash and the Mishkan. And why is he going out to make peace between the man and the man and the wife, and all kinds of time he took in order to do that? And what we're saying now, we're saying it's very, very logical why he did it. Because what is the whole service of the Holy Temple? The words Hashem said, Hashem says that, make for me a holy temple, I'll dwell amongst you. The whole purpose of a Mishkan and the holy temple that King Solomon built was for Hashem to come down and be with us, to dwell in that holy temple. That's like Hashem's house, so to speak. He lives in the house of the holy temple, the Mishkan that was in the desert, the portable house, Beis HaMikdash, and the permanent Beis HaMikdash that was built in Yerushalayim and Jerusalem by King Solomon. Hashem says, I will come down and live amongst you. And by doing the service in the Beis HaMikdash, by bringing the sacrifices, which we discussed in the past, how that, the mechanics of it, how sacrifice brings Hashem close, but all the service that was done in the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash was all for the purpose of bringing Hashem close to the earth. Hashem will come down. The Ramban tells us that Hashem came down to Mount Sinai. God came down and he gave the 10 Commandments to the Jewish people. What happened to Hashem after that? After he gave the 10 Commandments, where did he go? He went to the Beis HaMikdash. He came down to the earth, to this world, at Mount Sinai. He gave the Torah to the Jewish people, and he ended up going into the Mishkan, into the Holy Temple that the Jews built in the desert. Later, he went to the temple of King Solomon. So the temple was for Shochanti B'Seichem. Hashem wants to come and live amongst us. And at times that the temple was built, the standing, that's when the Jews, they were able to enjoy such greatness amongst the nations of the world. Hashem was with them, and they enjoyed the abundance of blessings Hashem gave. And the whole world was influenced by it, and had a part of it by Hashem coming down to the world in the Beis HaMikdash. So, what was the main purpose again of the Beis HaMikdash? To bring Hashem close to the world by doing all the service and the Beis HaMikdash of sacrifices and other service that he did. Well, that's exactly what happens when we have peace between us. It brings Hashem down to the world. If there's no peace between us, Hashem says, if you don't have peace between yourselves, then I am not going to be close to you. I am furthering myself away from you, and you will not get my blessings. If I'm not close, you cannot get the blessings you want to get. So, yes, Aaron HaKohen was the high priest in the Mishkan for the purpose of bringing Hashem close to the world through the Mishkan. Shochanti, I'll live amongst you. Another way how to accomplish that is making peace between people. There's no peace between people. Hashem is not going to come down to Beis HaMikdash. You bring a carbon, but it's not going to be the same thing. If the Jews are arguing, fighting, and not getting along, Hashem says, don't get along, then I can't get along with you either. I'm not going to be with you. I'm not going to spread my wings off to protect you like I'd like to. So it comes out that Aaron HaKohen had a double job with the purpose being the same purpose. A double job of serving in the Holy Temple and making peace between people, man and man, man and wife. And it had the same purpose, even though it was two different jobs, but had the same purpose. The same purpose was to bring down the Shekhinah, bring the Hashem to be in this world. And by bringing the Korbanos, every day they brought, they sacrificed in the Beis HaMikdash, and they in morning they had a sacrifice, afternoon the sacrifice, and all the on Shabbos special sacrifices, and on holidays special sacrifices, and all these things brought Hashem to the world, brought him close to the world. Of course, we always talk about the sacrifice of Jewish people. It's not like the pagan sacrifices that they used to bring, slaughter animals to their god, thinking the gods are going to enjoy having sacrifices to them. Hashem said, I don't need you. I don't need anything. I don't want you. I want you to sacrifice for yourself. That person brings an animal to Hashem as a sacrifice. He realizes himself is an animal. My body is our animals, and we want to tame our animals down. We want to make our neshama. Our neshama is what really with all of our holy neshama that we have, and we want to make that a person has a body and a neshama. Most people in the world make the main part of themselves their body, like animals. They eat like animals and have all kinds of enjoyment of animals. That's what they're looking for. But as Jews, we say, no, neshama, our soul is the main part of us. We have to train our animals to serve Hashem and not to eat what we want. What Hashem wants us to eat, only kosher. And all the mitzvah laws of the Torah is to aim our animalistic part of us and make it holy. So this is the purpose of the Holy Temple, is for us to serve Hashem and bring our neshama, our soul, into our life as the main thing that we're working with and looking up to. And by bringing sacrifices, and each person, when they wanted to bring a sacrifice in the Holy Temple, they were able to bring it. There were certain ones that the Kohen brought every day, a sacrifice in the afternoon, but people on their own had the right to bring their own sacrifice to Hashem. And that brought them close to Hashem. Each person brought their sacrifice to Hashem. And that was the purpose of the temple, was to bring the Jewish people close to Hashem. That was the purpose of the Holy Temple. And therefore, since Aaron HaKohen was in charge, Aaron the priest, he was in charge of the Beis HaMikdash. His job was to bring Hashem close to the world, to the Jewish people. And he had, by doing it, by bringing, serving in the Beis HaMikdash with the animals that he brought as sacrifices and all the other services that were done there, also out of Beis HaMikdash, he also was active to bring people close to each other. Be close to each other. Hashem says, you're close to each other, and I'm close to you too. And why was the temple destroyed? Our rabbis tell us, because there was no peace between the people, not enough peace between them. There was sinners, there was bad feelings between the Jewish people. It doesn't mean it was at a great extent, but the extent Hashem expects from Jewish people, our greatness, it was not strong enough to be loving each other like it should. And therefore Hashem brought destruction to the Holy Temple, because since there was not strong peace amongst the Jewish people themselves, if Hashem said, if that's the case, no strong companionship between you and me and you also, and the basements were destroyed. So they go hand in hand. The Jewish people out of the Beis HaMikdash getting along, it brings Hashem into the Beis HaMikdash, gets along with us also. And the service we do there enhances it, makes it even stronger. Chas v'shalom, if we don't have that kind of relationship with our fellow Jews, then Hashem says, I won't have a relationship with you either. So now even though Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, we don't have the humble temple today, but we can do things that the Beis HaMikdash accomplished. It accomplished bringing Hashem close by bringing the sacrifice in the Beis HaMikdash. We can do the same thing by having peace amongst ourselves, by loving each Jew and helping him and doing what we can for everybody else, and giving charity like we should, and helping people in need. And we'll be having the service of the Beis HaMikdash outside the Beis HaMikdash, but the same purpose, the same accomplishment of bringing Hashem close by being close to our fellow Jews and helping them in time of need.